Right now, the atmosphere surrounding Rangers Football Club is nothing short of explosive. The frustration among supporters is reaching new heights, and it's not just about poor results anymore. It's about a growing sense that those at the top no longer understand what this club stands for. A recent interview from sporting director Kevin Thelwell has poured fuel on an already raging fire, and fans are making their voices heard in no uncertain terms. From chants at Ibrox to heated online discussions, the reaction has been overwhelming, and for many, deeply worrying. Let's start with the man whose comments sparked this latest storm. Kevin Thelwell, who came in alongside manager Russell Martin, is facing his first real test in the Ibrox hot seat. The club's start to the Scottish Premiership has been nothing short of disastrous. After 4 matches, Rangers are still chasing their first win, have managed just 1 goal from open play, and look a shadow of the side that fans were promised during preseason. But it wasn't the results that set supporters off this time. It was Thelwell's response to them. After a goalless, lifeless draw with Celtic in the Old Firm, he chose to describe the performance as a step in the right direction. That sentence alone sent shockwaves through the Rangers faithful. Imagine hearing that. You sit through 90 minutes of football with zero cutting edge, no urgency, and almost no threat to the Celtic goal, in your own stadium, in front of your own fans, and the man tasked with guiding the club's sporting direction calls it positive. To many, it felt like an insult to their intelligence, and worse, a clear signal that standards are being allowed to drop. Thelwell didn't call it great, but even the attempt to sugarcoat such a dismal showing has been taken as a sign that those in charge have lost touch with what Rangers Football Club is supposed to be. This isn't just about one comment. This is about a wider pattern that fans are beginning to recognize, a creeping acceptance of mediocrity. Supporters remember what it felt like to see Rangers dominate games, to expect victories against any opponent, and to demand excellence week in and week out. That identity is being eroded, and the fear is that it's not just slipping away on the pitch, but in the boardroom too. When the club's own leaders seem satisfied with second best, what message does that send to the players? What does it say to the supporters who live and breathe this club? The draw against Celtic should never have been anything other than a disappointment. Yes, it was a clean sheet, but that's the bare minimum in an Old Firm derby, especially at Ibrox. There were boos echoing around the stadium at full time, and not out of impatience, but out of genuine disbelief at the lack of ambition on display. To then hear the performance described as honest and intense by Thelwell only rubbed salt in the wound. It's not that fans don't want to see work ethic and humility. Of course they do. But those things must come alongside quality, aggression, and most importantly, a will to win. This was not a team that looked like it was trying to win a football match. This was a team that looked like it was trying not to lose. And that mindset, that overly cautious approach, is starting to define the Russell Martin era, or at least the beginning of it. Let's not forget, Martin's appointment was controversial from the start. Many saw it as a gamble, especially for a club of Rangers' stature. He arrived with promise, but little to no track record at the elite level. Some were willing to give him time, hoping his ideas would bring something new and dynamic to Ibrox. But time is running out quickly, and the early signs haven't just been underwhelming. They've been alarming. His relationship with the squad is already under scrutiny. One of the clearest examples of that breakdown came in the Hamza Agerman saga. The Moroccan striker, once tipped as one of the club's brightest prospects, refused to come on as a substitute during a draw with St. Mirren, a game that desperately needed a spark. That act effectively sealed his exit, and he completed a move to Lille shortly after, where he scored twice on his debut. The manner of his departure raised eyebrows, but it also said a lot about the current environment at Rangers. When a young player no longer sees a future at the club and actively engineers an exit, it's a red flag, not just about the player's attitude, but about the atmosphere inside the dressing room. Agerman didn't hold back in his parting words either. He spoke openly about needing an environment that fosters development and ambition, something he implied he wasn't getting in Glasgow. And for all the criticism he's received from some quarters, there's a harsh truth buried in what he said. League One is known for nurturing young talent. Rangers should be a place that does the same, not just a stepping stone, but a platform for real growth and success. If players are starting to feel like they need to leave to reach their potential, that's a huge problem. But perhaps the most damning indictment of the current regime came from a player who always gave everything on the pitch, Cyril Dessers. The Nigerian striker, who netted over 50 goals in 2 seasons for the club, made a very deliberate choice to move on, and his reasons cut deeper than most fans expected. In a recent interview, he made it clear that he left Rangers for Panathinaikos because he wanted to win a league title. Not just play good football, not just compete, win. That was missing from his time in Scotland, and in his view, that wasn't going to change anytime soon under Russell Martin. Dessers isn't the type to make noise for the sake of it. He let his goals do the talking during his time at Ibrox. But when a player like that publicly admits he no longer believes the club is in a position to win the title, it's a wake-up call. You can debate tactics, formations, or player selection all day long, but when belief disappears, everything else crumbles. If even your most reliable forwards aren't buying into the vision, then what hope is there? So now, Rangers fans find themselves asking some uncomfortable questions. If the players aren't convinced by the project, and the sporting director is happy to call a goalless home draw progress, what exactly is the club building towards? What's the plan? What are the standards? Because right now, it feels like everything is being diluted: expectations, ambition, and most importantly, identity. This club has always been built on a relentless pursuit of excellence. Second best has never been good enough, and Ibrox has never been a place for those who accept mediocrity. It's not just about trophies, it's about what the club represents: pride, passion, intensity, and a refusal to settle for anything less than domination. That's what the fans expect. That's what the badge demands. And the truth is, the fans aren't angry because of one bad result. They're angry because they're seeing the early signs of something deeper, something that threatens the core of what Rangers stands for. It's not just a rocky start to the season. It's a worrying trend of lowered expectations and mixed messages from the top. A sporting director who praises poor performances. A manager who looks overwhelmed. Players who no longer believe. And if nothing changes soon, if results don't improve, if communication from the club doesn't become more honest, if leadership continues to ignore what the supporters are screaming from the stands, then the pressure will only mount. The frustration will boil over. And the bond between the fans and the club, which has already been tested in recent years, will continue to erode. Rangers fans are loyal. They've stuck by the team through thick and thin, from the darkest days in the lower leagues to title-winning highs. But they won't be taken for granted. Not now. Not ever. When they speak, the club needs to listen. Because silence, spin, and excuses won't cut it. Not at Ibrox. Not at a club where only winning matters. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. In a move that has stunned the Scottish footballing community and left fans across the country buzzing with disbelief, Rangers have reportedly completed the signing of Dundee FC's talisman Simon Murray, a player whose reputation has steadily grown over recent seasons as one of the most reliable and tireless forwards in the Scottish Premiership. The rumor, which began circulating in the early hours of this morning, has been fueled by whispers from sources close to both clubs, suggesting that the Glasgow Giants swooped decisively after weeks of quiet negotiations that flew entirely under the radar. For a player who only recently seemed destined to remain the heartbeat of Dundee's attack, the thought of him pulling on the famous blue jersey at Ibrox has set tongues wagging and sparked endless debates in pubs, on supporters' buses, and across social media platforms where rival fans are already weighing in with strong opinions. Many are describing it as not just a transfer, but a statement of intent, as Rangers look to wrestle back dominance in domestic competitions while simultaneously reinforcing their squad for the demanding European nights ahead, where Murray's tireless pressing and eye for goal could prove invaluable against more illustrious opposition. What makes the story all the more gripping is the timing, as no one truly expected Rangers to make such an audacious move in the middle of what was shaping up to be a relatively predictable transfer window. Most observers had anticipated minor adjustments and the bedding in of existing talent, not the swooping of a key figure from a fellow Premiership side who seemed integral to Dundee's plans for the campaign. The gossip mills in Glasgow are spinning at full speed, with insiders hinting that Murray himself had been eager for a new challenge, a chance to test himself at the highest level, and an opportunity to wear the badge of one of Scotland's most storied clubs. Supporters of Dundee, meanwhile, are said to be reeling at the possibility of losing their star striker, with some expressing anger and others resigned to the reality that the lure of Ibrox is too strong for most professionals to resist. In footballing terms, this is not simply a signing, but a potential seismic shift, the kind of deal that unsettles the balance between clubs and forces rivals to reconsider their strategies both on and off the pitch. Beyond the emotional reactions of the fan bases, analysts are already dissecting the potential impact Murray could bring to Rangers' setup, particularly under the tactical framework that has sometimes struggled to find a consistent and clinical spearhead. Known for his relentless work rate, clever movement, and instinct for capitalizing on half chances, Murray represents a profile that could complement the creative forces already present in the Rangers squad, adding a layer of unpredictability that opponents will find difficult to contain. The buzz among journalists suggests that this acquisition could even have been in the pipeline for longer than anyone realized, pointing to scouts attending several Dundee matches and discreet discussions happening behind closed doors while the public attention was elsewhere. The question now lingers over how seamlessly Murray will adapt to the pressure of playing before tens of thousands of demanding supporters at Ibrox, where expectations are unforgiving and every touch of the ball is scrutinized. Yet the murmurs suggest confidence from within the club that he possesses both the mentality and the physical resilience to thrive in such a cauldron-like atmosphere, making his arrival all the more compelling for those who follow the game closely. The transfer also reignites the long-running debate about the balance of power in Scottish football, as Rangers and Celtic continue their eternal duel at the summit, leaving other clubs to fight for scraps of glory in their shadows. By plucking Murray away from Dundee, Rangers are not only strengthening their own ranks, but also weakening a potential challenger for European qualification places, a ruthless strategy that has long been associated with the biggest clubs in the country. Some critics argue that moves like this widen the gap between the top two and the rest, eroding competitiveness, but others counter that it is the natural order of football, where talent gravitates toward the clubs with history, resources, and continental ambitions. The whispers have even carried south of the border, where pundits are suggesting this could be a turning point in Rangers' pursuit of silverware, a bold demonstration that they are unwilling to settle for second best. While no official statement has yet confirmed the details, the rumor mill has already transformed Murray's potential arrival into one of the most talked-about stories in recent memory, a saga that feels destined to dominate headlines in the days and weeks ahead. If the move does indeed materialize, the repercussions could echo far beyond Ibrox and Dens Park, shaping not only the trajectory of Rangers' season, but also the very narrative of Scottish football's current era. For Dundee, the departure of Murray would be a bitter pill to swallow, depriving them of a leader whose goals, energy, and influence stretched well beyond the pitch itself, leaving supporters to wonder how the club will respond and whether they can find an adequate replacement in time. For Rangers, however, it would symbolize ambition, a statement that mediocrity will not be tolerated and that every possible edge will be pursued in the relentless quest for titles and European progress. Already, speculation is rife about how this transfer could impact team dynamics, dressing room hierarchies, and tactical setups, with fans dissecting every whisper as if decoding a prophecy. Whether the deal proves to be a masterstroke or a gamble remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. Simon Murray's name has suddenly become the hottest topic in Scottish sport, his future the subject of hushed conversations and roaring debates, a true footballing storm that shows no sign of calming. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.